Sure.
Thailand is essentially the new hotspot. A little bit before the pandemic, but definitely after. Like
Yeah.
everybody's going to Thailand now because
Like
people,
expats.
everybody across the world,
Yeah.
like India, people that are nearby, they're moving there because of the cost of living and
Right.
the ability to have people that speak their language, because Thai language is very hard to learn. So
Yeah.
when Thais try to learn other languages, they typically assimilate and can learn quickly.
Gotcha.
Pattaya has lots of English speakers because they get English is the most dominant language in the world in many cases. It's
Sure.
not maybe the most spoken, but it's the most dominant.
Sure.
So people are flocking there right now. It's a small place. It's not
Yeah.
but like there's in some places you go, there's more foreigners than Thai people, which
Interesting.
wasn't the case 4 years ago.
Interesting.
Because the internet is spreading the information, and then companies are moving to different places in Thailand, not just Pattaya, Chiang Mai, Bangkok, all these places, and it's becoming more and more less less of a fear of going to these places because it's open now in terms of not only the information but also the welcomeness of people to say to be more comfortable to go there. So and then a lot of places that were like the like the best place to be, like the Philippines and stuff like that, they're getting more, the cost of living is becoming more and more expensive. So people
Right.
are all, no matter what, people are optimizing for cost of living, period.
Right.
So that's just the way it works. So
Yeah.
when you look put all this together, you look at, okay, where are people being pushed to because of cost of living? They don't have to learn a new language, right? Because I can go to places right now that the cost of living is less expensive, but then you have to adapt to different cultural things, different languages, more crime. That's a
Sure.
big factor. You can go to Thailand and walk in many places and walk late at night in places where there's no people, crowds of men, uh, places where there's illegal activity going on, and you'll still be safe,
Hmm.
right? You could go into a typical place where they sell a lot, like they just legalized marijuana in Thailand. Did you know
Okay.
that?
No, I didn't
Okay,
know that.
so now there's people selling weed on the street and making
Okay.
money, like the black market, right?
Wow.
So that now weed is illegal in California where you're at, and there's a black market for it, and then there's also like people are paying taxes on it, and taxes are ridiculous out that way for that sort of industry, right?
Yeah.
But the a lot of the black market, it's still pretty shady. Like you walk somewhere around LA or like Newport Beach, or even like where you're near to, or a lot of places where you're at, you could be in a place where you could wind up in danger, right? Just for
Oh,
getting weed,
absolutely. Yeah.
right? But you go to Thailand, you can walk late at night somewhere, and you
Yeah.
can go buy your weed and not worry about like, am I going to get stabbed in the back or shot or anything like that.
Yeah.
Any time of day, because that's culturally, it's not worth it there. The penalties are so large that people don't commit crimes as readily that are like considered blue collar violent
Mhm.
crimes, because it's not worth it. But also
Mhm.
culturally, that's just not the way they operate. So
Yeah.
that's part of it too. It's more of a
Yeah.
peaceful culture. So all that factored together, people are moving from all over the world to places like that, Malaysia too, because of the fact of safety,
Sure.
optimizing for income, optimizing for the women, because so Pattaya, most women move there, that live there, and they move there because they're doing it to make money. They're
Sure.
doing it not to make more money than they could ever made, and it's mostly because of how they look, or they're optimizing for the type of man they can get because they want a foreigner.
Sure. Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's it, man. So I want to probably do more like stuff. I wanted to really see your reaction to that stuff because I think it would have been interesting, because it's something that I knew about for a while, but I think that like maybe you didn't know a lot of that stuff. Like you
The only reason I know about it is because my wife during the pandemic, my wife and I were watching 90 Day Fiance.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was a couple of guys. I'm thinking of one guy in particular. He had a Thai fiance,
Uh,
and he called her Angelina Jolie because he
mhm,
thought that she
mhm.
looked. I was like, I don't see it, but hey, if you like her, cool, man.
So that's the other thing that I wanted to pull out, right? So people are living their fantasies there. Like, so for example, I have a friend out there right now, and he always encouraged me to go, and he's got a Thai woman that he thinks looks like Tony Braxton,
Uh-huh.
which is a singer, R&B singer,
Oh yeah, yeah, I know
from
who
the
she is.
90s. And he's like, this is my Thai Tony Braxton. And she's a beautiful woman, but I
Sure,
think that like he wouldn't be able to quote unquote like get a woman like that in the USA because she would optimize for somebody that has more money,
sure,
better looking, right? Lots of factors. More emotionally stable than him, but he can go out there and get a Thai Tony Braxton and joke about it, and she'll hang out with him because like he's paying the bills. That's period. Like he's
right,
taking care of the house, right? He's providing the stability. So traditionally, if you look at across history, right, and times people are saying, "Oh no, times are changing, everything else," but men traditionally provide stability, protection, providers, and they provide the leadership, right, of a
sure,
household. Now that's being flipped because women are given the opportunity to make as much as men, not necessarily they do, but their opportunity. But then on the other side, women are supposed to be compliant, agreeable, and submissive is a trigger word for a lot of women, but
sure,
that's what's been expected for a long time. And you can go to Thailand and get that
yeah,
from somebody just by being a man that can pay the bills and has provide stability, whereas you don't have to be good looking. There's
right.
like there's a quote out like in a lot of the Asian countries where it's like you don't have to settle and they don't discriminate. Whereas in the
Okay,
USA, you're going to see like it's just going to be more selective. The USA, United Kingdom, Canada, some places, South Africa, like places where it seems like there's not the patriarchal society is not the same as it used to be, as
yeah,
because it still is somewhat.
oh
it's
yeah,
it's, it's different. It's so you when I'm looking at all this stuff, I see that when a guy says, yeah, I have a Thai Tony Braxton, uh like he feels like he's not going to be able to achieve that coming from he's from the USA, so he's going out there to get somebody that he feels as though is he's optimizing for looks, right, like most
sure,
men do,
sure,
period. So when he's doing that, when he's in the dating pool, he's getting the best looking woman he can, while the woman is getting stability and not questioning anything else that he's providing because she's getting that, right? So then
makes sense.
there's a level past that, right? Women want stability, but then when they get that, are they appreciative of that, and do they want more and more? Same with men too. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
but one sided. But if you look at the women, they're essentially getting the stability that they want, and then they're saying, "Yeah, this is cool. I'm cool with this. I can hang out." And that the woman named Elle in the video, it seems like she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna like this is great." How long does that last though? Right? Could last forever. Maybe.
Could, I could. I mean, yeah, I mean, even, like we were talking about earlier, kind of full circle, even, marriages don't last. Like you were saying, divorce is the biggest transfer. So
Mhm.
even if you're married, that doesn't mean it's going to last. I mean, you hope
Yeah,
it does. Nobody gets married thinking, no, hopefully I'll get divorced. Nobody thinks that, but well, except I guess maybe gold diggers.
you get a prenup.
Yeah, yeah,
Some prenups are it's better to get a prenup for folks that are considered not the breadwinner of the household or bringing in the most income, because then you have guaranteed money if things don't work out, right?
sure,
Because
sure,
in divorce it could go either way. Most times
sure.
it's one-sided in terms of optimizing for if you have children or stability or maintaining the same living what's the word, living situation is the best way I can think of
The
it.
lifestyle
Yeah,
you're accustomed to, I think they
yeah,
call it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, right? And that's thrown around a lot. You knew that right away, what exactly what I was talking about. And
Oh yeah,
it's like, why do we do that? Right? It's because they want to make men and women and people and whatever you want to call yourselves in a relationship equal, right? When they want to be whole when they leave, so they aren't like on the street, right? Whereas you go to somewhere like all these other countries and like that's not the case. If
right,
a woman leaving, a man is like as meaning that okay, you made a decision to leave, you figure it out.
right, right. I think that makes sense. If, whoever decides to leave should have to figure it out. And
Mm.
You know, regardless if it's the man or the woman. We don't have that, but I think that makes more sense to me, you know.
But then also on the other side, people stay in a relationship they don't like because of money.
Sure.
So is that really? Do you want people to suffer because they made a bad decision in a
No,
relationship?
I mean
Whereas
I
people
don't.
change, right? People
Huh?
change, right?
Sure. Oh yeah.
So like, who's to say the same person now is going to be the same person 7 years from now?
Well, they won't be.
True,
Uh,
true. So
yeah,
that if they
it's a
aren't,
given that they won't
and
be.
that's what
Yeah.
I mean. So that's why it's almost like, yeah, the society that we live in the states, etc. Because I'm still part of the states,
Yeah.
um, or at least like territorially.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, that that's what we're saying. We're saying that you specifically, even though you made a bad decision, it's not your fault. Let me compensate you be so that you can continue to make another bad decision.
Sure. And yeah, I mean, you can apply that to a lot.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems in general that our society has is we're trying to minimize consequences for people's decisions, and
Mm,
that just makes everything worse and worse and worse until
mm,
everything collapses.
yeah. Case in point, New York City. Like
Los Angeles. Los
you-
Angeles looks like
a
I
homeless
don't know
shelter.
the last time you've been there. It's a nightmare. It's a
Uh-huh.
nightmare.
Where you're at right now, do you have to walk past like homeless tents or drive past
No, not no.
stations?
They kept them out. Like Orange County is different than LA County.
Mhm.
I mean, I do see homeless people, but it's not on every corner like in LA where they have tent cities and just people openly doing drugs on the streets. So it's
Mhm.
not like that here. I do see homeless people, but it's not on a daily basis, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it does still exist, but yeah, it's a different, it's a complete, like, even though Los Angeles is only about an hour away, it's
Mhm.
a different world. It's completely a different world.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
All right. So I'll bring you something next time to just something more fun or something like that, or at least more I don't know. I'm trying to bring things that are you know what I mean, more right now the Andrew Tate thing is a big deal. Like I said,
Yeah,
most search person, most people don't know he's the most search person because they're not
I
looking
didn't
to
know
see
that.
who's the most search person, right? You're not looking to say, hey, who's the most search? You're just looking to get the information that you want when you search.
Yeah,
But it is the case, and it's like the way he's a public. Everybody's watching him across the world, which is so interesting to me because like what value is has he provided? He's providing something. It's clearly entertainment, but what other
sure.
value is providing? Because lots of people are good entertainers. So we'll just see how this pans out. It's just interesting to me how something so niche and something that he's saying is becoming so big. But I look at like the red pill community, if you want to look at that, or whatever
Sure.
you want to call it. Males becoming realizing that they're becoming weaker or more feminine, or whether that's good or bad. He's bringing to light all this stuff because once people hear his name, they're then googling him more, and then they're finding the content that he's saying that would be considered controversial, and then they're diving into that and they're finding this whole new world, especially
Sure.
men, of
Sure.
things of like decisions they've made in life, and they're looking at like, hey, how as there's this whole community of people that maybe think like I thought at one time, but I was pushed to do something else, right? Like maybe I thought that like, hey, I don't really want to get married, or I don't want to do this, or
Sure.
I don't want to follow this. I don't feel good about it, but they did it anyway because they're like, well, my parents did it. It's got to be right,
Sure.
right,
It's
right.
expected of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So now they see that this whole new world of, hey, wait a minute, maybe I'm being manipulated, maybe, and then um uh I was looking at this and saying like, okay, now you're in. It seems like you're in a whole. You've entered into a space that would otherwise be considered some like underground,
Yeah,
because something like him that brings it to light, and that he's saying essentially saying what he wants.
sure.
As I see it, it doesn't seem like a tool to me, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
some people can be boisterous and act like that and still be a tool. Um, have you heard of Liver King? Did you ever hear that guy, Liver King?
Oh yeah, like Yeah, I heard about him. I don't, again, I don't know that much about him, but I heard about
Mhm.
that whole, when that whole thing went down. I heard about that. Yeah.
So basically, he just was trying to sell a bunch of supplements by lying to people, and he's taking steroids, right?
Right.
But the whole thing is, he still has a big audience. People are still following him even after he came out with his quote unquote confession, and they're still buying his supplements, and he's still very popular, even though he's saying I lied, right? So he was just doing, but the whole thing is,
People are dumb.
yeah, and it doesn't matter good or bad, he's still selling.
Yeah.
People are still buying it because they're just looking for, people are alive. There's a lot of consumers that will just still buy stuff based on fame, and like they'll spin it and say, oh, he was honest, like that's great, I'm glad he was came out and was honest, let me buy some more stuff from him. Right.
Yeah.
Because they're not looking for they're people are looking for a magic pill, and still he's still offering that magic pill, and people are still willing to give him a shot because they're like, well, potentially, even though he's lying to me, maybe it still is, because physically he looks like that, even though he said he took steroids.
Right.
Physically he looks like the way I want to look, and
Sure.
this is what he's selling, and he's entertaining, providing that value. So to me, so let me buy into it. Same thing I said with Andrew Tate. He's not saying any, his brother and him not saying anything that I feel like I haven't heard before. That's, he's just saying it in a different way, and in a different tone, from a different person. Like so it just comes out like, oh wow, this is like new information, or it's like this is entertaining, and I can digest it.
Yeah.
So I'm into it, right? Um, but yeah, I don't like I but it's same thing like a Kim Kardashian or the Kardashians. Like you have to look at, see like what value did they provide, but they provide something, because
Something.
they're
Entertainment.
probably all gonna, every name there is pushing towards billionaire, and when you have that name, so or associated with that name, so there's value clearly, because
Sure.
monetarily, uh, um yeah, that's all I have to say. I think we talked for a while, but what I'd want to do in the future will have short conversations, bring stuff, want to hear what you have to say. We'll keep it on topic to kind of what we want to talk about or stuff going on in the future, and that's what and then I have a plan for what we're gonna do with all this stuff.
Cool.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
all right, see you later.
All right. Later.